Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Keep my head up when I act, head up, that's a fact. Never looking back, I'ma keep myself on track. Keep my head up, staying strong, always moving on. Feel I don't belong, tell my thoughts to move along. Push myself to be the best, die with no regrets. Live with every breath, see my message start to spread. And I had so many dreams, then you hit your teens. Life ain't really what it seems, try to find out what it means. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah. I'm grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable, oh yeah, no label, oh yeah, you know me, I have only a path, I'm lonely, but damn, I'm going, I don't want no fake love, I want the real stuff. Everybody listen up, cause I'll only say it once. I'm gonna show you all the path, if you want it bad. I'm gonna show you where it's at, yeah, how you can get it back. Yeah, cause I ain't never done, I'll be number one. Working hella hard until I get just what I want, yeah. Rises like the sun, yeah, fatal like a gun. Shooters gonna shoot and I'm gonna shoot until I fall, yeah. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah. Grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable, oh yeah, no label, oh yeah, you know me, I have only a path, I'm lonely, but damn, I'm going to win, yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. Where has my weekend gone? Have an extra day off, and it goes nearly as fast. So thank you for joining me. I much appreciate it on this also chilly day. It was very cold last night. Like, it was need a winter coat cold. So currently it's 35 degrees. So not as cold as it was last night, but cold nonetheless. And I see Gina was the first one here. You also said hi to Sinner. I'm pretty sure Sinner is probably still sleeping, but he may surprise me. Hey, Phyllis, Tamzilla, SoFlo. And I did see, yeah, so Christmas music, like I am okay with Christmas music starting on Thanksgiving, right? Because you want to get through Thanksgiving first. There's a radio station here that started playing Christmas music right after Halloween. I was like, are you serious? Usually this radio station waits until after Thanksgiving, but this year, for some reason, they're playing it 24/7 now. And I'm like, no, it's too early. Oh, SoFlo, you were yelling at your sister for starting to decorate her house. Yeah, it's a little too early, in my opinion. Yeah, just 2 weeks before Christmas. Yeah, I don't mind listening to it after Thanksgiving, if I'm in the mood, but and plus I feel like I mean, some people like love Christmas music, but if you're listening to it from, the 1st of November to the end of December, like I feel like it would get old. There's only so many Christmas songs. Hey, Elaine. Good morning. Fairy Meadows, Selena, Nikita, Cool Gamer, Ange, Tracy Esme, Malice in Wonderland, love the name, which I probably say every time I see your name. Hey, Okie Crime News. Yeah, so Flo, I was up at 5:40 this morning, and normally I go back asleep. So like I'll feed the cats, I'll kind of like I'll do my Wordle, drink a little bit of coffee, and then I take a nap. And today I could not fall asleep. Could not. So I'm like, well, I might as well get up and start doing stuff. So laundry's been going for hours. I hung out with the mama foster cats for a little bit, cleaned up the kitchen. So after my live, I have to work on getting grades done because they're due by the end of today. And I also need to work a little bit more on my kitchen, but and laundry room. So actually both of those I want to get some stuff done. Oh, okay, Gina. Yeah, I feel like it is like Christmas music is pretty uplifting. And there's some songs that I like better than others that I guess I could if I heard the song, I'd be okay with hearing it whenever, but I just feel like I don't know, it's a lot. Oh, Tamzilla, you have Thanksgiving in October, so it's a free for all in November. Interesting. Hey JD, how are you? Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of marketing. I mean, this was not this past summer, but the summer before. I remember I had just got done like with the school year. And I go into Dollar General and they've got like not a whole aisle, but they've got a section of an aisle of back to school things. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, we haven't even been able to enjoy one day off and their school stuff already being advertised. It's just so, yeah, it's completely commercialized and it's all about, making money, which is even more disgusting. Hey, Tonka girl, Chaos. Kathy P, good morning. And Kathy, you have a live at 12, I think I saw. Hey, Dutch Oma, good morning. Oh, Tamzilla. So my mom actually does the same thing. So Tamzilla had said, I like to keep my tree up all year and decorate it for all seasons and holidays. So my mom has the same thing. She has a tree that she keeps on their front porch and she decorates it for whatever season it is. So it's kind of like a year round. So that's kind of cool. Oh my gosh, that's so funny, Fairy Meadows. My 3-year-old granddaughter sings Christmas songs all year, while her 5-year-old brother sings Halloween songs all year. Well, at least they both don't sing the same type of song. You get a little bit of a variety there. Oh, okay, Kathy. So 12:45. Oh, I'm already caught up. Wow. Okay. Hey, TLC is me. Good morning, Lisbeth. Oh, your sister does that with the tree too? Yeah, it is cute. I when I used to have one cat, I would put up a tree, but now I don't because it would probably be more hassle than it's worth because the cats would always be bothering it or trying to knock it over or it's too much. So I enjoy my sister's trees because my niece has a tree in her room all year long. And then they have a tree like in the family room. My nephew has a tree. So they all have like individual trees. So I enjoy theirs. Yeah, exactly, Kathy. They try to they try to the cats try to be in the tree or eat the tree. And mine, I always have fake trees because I am allergic to Christmas trees. So I can't have a real one anyways. So it just, saves some time. So, today I am going to talk about the I-10 freeway shutdown due to a massive fire. But as always, as I'm getting ready for this live, I saw some other stories that I thought were interesting. And yesterday I had talked about a deadly accident in Houston that killed 6 people, and that was caused by a driver who rapidly sped through a red light and hit an SUV, killing passengers, as well as a homeless man who they have not identified yet, and the driver of the car that caused the collision also lost their life. So there are some updates on those who are identified. The first story we're going to talk about is a massive fire in Atlanta where 2 individuals were arrested because they were shooting off fireworks from the rooftop, which ignited said fire. And then there was a shooting, and I don't remember exactly where it was, but there was a hostage situation where an officer was killed. I believe that is also Houston. It probably is, because usually when I find one story that I'm looking at, it'll show me other stories from that same area. So I think it also might be Houston, but do not quote me because I can't remember exactly. Oh, you got a real tree, Kathy? So Sir Duke goes out my ornaments. Hey, Deborah, good morning. I agree, Fairy Meadows. So I had the poll up, and I apologize for those of you who were in my live yesterday. I also had a poll up, and I completely forgot to see what the results were, like I always do. And unfortunately, when I realized it, I hit end poll and the live had already ended, so it wouldn't give any results. And so looking at the poll now, I've gotten 44 votes, so thank you. 93% said yes, they enjoy the stories that I choose, and 9%, actually now, yes, 9% say no, which that's about 5 to 6 people say they don't enjoy the stories that I choose to discuss. So, if you were one of those people who chose no, unless it was an accident, let me know why and what stories you would like me to cover. I know, Sunnyside, I do it all the time. I'm so distracted. Possibly Bertha and her minions, yes. I always do that. I mention it, I'll have it on my mind, and then I get completely distracted. It's like a dog that sees a squirrel. Like, you're doing something, and then it's like, squirrel, and you completely forget what you're doing. So, yes. And I did see that Bertha was live this morning, and I don't know what was going on, but I've got to say, like, she was very what's the word I want to use? Like hyper amused, like just laughing when she shouldn't. I mean, she's talking about the Idaho 4, which it'll be a year tomorrow that the 4 lost their lives. Manic, that is a good way to explain it. she was way too excited about seeing a video of hippos mating. So it was very cringeworthy this morning. Nope, I see you, K-Braze. Make sure that you are on all messages or live chat, not top chat, because that could be a cause that you're not seeing your messages go through. But I do see you. Hey, Julie, how are you? Marie? Nope, and I don't see any messages that have been unhinged. It's just like it was just very, I don't know, it cringe. That's how I'm going to describe it. So I did watch about an hour and then I was like, okay, I got to get stuff done. So I will finish it later on. Okay, internet's been acting up. My internet was acting up a little bit as well, and I restarted my computer because I was like, oh, I don't want it to, crash like it has done before. And, StreamYard was acting up this morning. I was trying to get on StreamYard website. It kept saying an error has occurred. I'm like, come on now, get it together. So, hey, happy watcher. All right, so we're going to get started. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. I actually have just about as many people as Bertha had in her live this morning. So that's pretty awesome, considering it's 11 o'clock on a Sunday. So, yes. Hey, Queen Bella, out running errands, but listening. I appreciate that. All right, so the first story, and so again, this is from Atlanta, Northeast Atlanta. And when I saw this, I saw the photo of the building and I was like, holy crap. Like, that is significant damage. And I was like, so, why are these two arrested? Like, I'm thinking they started a fire, they, whatever. And come to find out, they were shooting off fireworks from the roof that ignited the fire. Yes, so we're going to take a look. Hey, Yvonne, welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Developing tonight, 2 people in jail and dozens of their neighbors looking for a new place to call home following a massive apartment fire happening in Northeast Atlanta last night. And the fire ignited at the Reserve at La Vista Walk and it burned for.
And so here, okay, so that actually is, that photo gives a much bigger perspective of the damage. And it almost looks like this apartment complex had an open courtyard in the middle because it looks like there's an empty spot there. I noticed it on the last picture as well, but I wasn't sure. And what did they I should look it up. Let me look it back up just a little bit.
Developing tonight, 2 people in jail and dozens of their neighbors looking for a new place to call home following a massive apartment fire happening in Northeast Atlanta last night. And the fire ignited at the Reserve at La Vista Walk and it burned for.
Okay, so Reserve at, I'm going to look this up. Reserve at La Vista Walk. There it is. Oh my God, this place was gorgeous. Okay, so let's see. Here we go. Apartments in Atlanta, Georgia. So we're going to look at this together. So this is just their opening. And then you have some photos here. So again, it did have that open courtyard in the middle. I mean, this place was, based on the pictures, it's absolutely gorgeous. Oh, here we go. Here's some pictures. And I can't make them bigger. Well, that's annoying. Oh, here, photos, video. Let's go to photos first. So we'll just go through, there's 17. We'll just go through and see I mean, granted, the photos are going to be, you know, usually nicer, but like absolutely gorgeous. It looks like a private resort style pool. Well, yes, I was just going to say it looks like a resort. Absolutely beautiful. And so there's the open courtyard, which I'd thought based on the picture. They have a weight room. So definitely an upscale, I would say upscale building. And so there's another photo of the pool. Like, that is gorgeous. Gorgeous. So, and actually there was let me just go back, because there was a video and I'm not sure, they might show the outside. Oh, here, we can go right to YouTube. So you can see this place is massive. So the photo that we are seeing on the news clip now is this angle where the tower in front. And so you can see this entire, I don't know how many floors. I didn't listen that much, but I mean, pretty big place. All right, so I'm just going to, let's see. Oh, here's a little bit of the outside. I mean, it does. It looks like a hotel, which now it's destroyed. And oh, yeah, it is really big. Right. Imagine losing everything due to someone else being stupid. I agree.
For hours overnight. You can just see the extensive damage here. Our Atlanta News First reporter, Asia Wilson, is live now at La Vista Road. And Asia, what are these displaced residents telling you tonight?
Well, right now the city has them at a different location right now. But speaking of that investigation, we do know that police are telling us that they believe that the fire may have started due to fireworks being ignited from the roof of this building. You can see nearly 24 hours later, crews are still investigating that right now. You can see firefighters still working to put out hot spots. 2 people now facing charges, as so many wondering what's next for this site. From the ground.
Oh my gosh. So even you can see the debris and just damage even on the outside.
In the sky, total devastation. God. Now the view at the reserve.
Oop, and I hit pause too late. But again, it took out the entire top floor of that entire, at least the top floor. I can imagine that there's probably going to be smoke damage or water damage on additional floors as well. But so many people now displaced because of, like Tamzilla said, someone's idiocracy.
Now the view at the reserve at La Vista Walk Apartments after a fire erupted there on Friday night. Its residents now without a place to call home.
All the residents have been displaced from this location. What we have done is, through the City of Atlanta Emergency Management Office, has established a rec center to open up as a shelter for those residents.
many of them standing outside in the rain and cold for hours. More than 80 firefighters worked to put out the flames. Fire officials say one cat died and 17 people were treated for smoke inhalation and various minor but non-life-threatening injuries. Atlanta police say their preliminary investigation reveals the fire may have started due to fireworks igniting from the roof of the building.
And it's amazing that even though 17 people were treated for smoke inhalation or other issues, no one lost their life. And sadly, a cat did lose their life. So someone's beloved pet, but no persons died. And it could have been, like we say sometimes, it could have been a lot worse. If you remember that story I did in South Africa, where there were dozens of people who were killed in a fire that broke out because, I don't even remember what it was. It was the way that they ran their electricity or something like that, I believe. I'd have to look at it again. But I just think back to that fire and how deadly that was for those people.
They arrested Robert Stokes and Chanel Gunn, charging them with criminal damage to property in the first degree and reckless conduct. Around 5:45 on Saturday night, Atlanta News First spoke to Battalion Chief Sean Mans off camera. He said the city's fire inspectors were looking at the building, adding that the sprinkler system was working at the time, but with the fire being above on the roof, the sprinkler system, quote, didn't do any good.
Oh my
He says now inspectors are working to get in contact with the owner of the building so that person can make arrangements to bring a demolition crew because the building has to be torn down.
Holy shoot. So I didn't watch this whole video. I was not expecting them to say that the entire building would have to be torn down. So that entire building is a complete loss because of these two people's poor choices. That's insane. And I'm wondering, because I'm assuming the building is unsafe, if those people whose apartments weren't affected, if they would be allowed back in to gather any of their personal belongings. Because if not, then there are, I would probably assume, hundreds of people who are now have nothing. Yeah, everyone's losing their home. Like, just I can't imagine. And I will be honest, I didn't watch this entire video, so I did not realize that they weren't going to be able to save any of this building. I just saw, the story and listened to a few minutes of the beginning, and this is really sad. And they had said something else that I wanted to comment on. So let me just back up a tiny bit. Oh, the sprinkler system. So they had said that the fire started on the roof, so the sprinkler system that was installed did nothing to prevent the spread of the fire. And that is really curious to me, because you would think that it would, like, the heat would cause the sprinkler system to ignite. I don't really know much about sprinkler systems, but I know a lot of times they're also heat activated. So, I mean, that's really sad that because it started on the roof, the sprinkler system was seemingly ineffective. Queen Bella, no humans passed away. There were 17 injured, and one cat sadly did lose their life.
The owner of the building so that person can make arrangements to bring a demolition crew because the building has to be torn down. Now, the investigation continues.
The arson team's going to come in and do their investigation and come up with a final determination.
Ugh.
Now, tonight, the city and the Red Cross are helping those displaced. Tonight, Battalion Chief Mann says Cheshire Bridge Road is now open. You can see crews or cars going in both directions, but La Vista Road right here still remains closed until further notice. We're live tonight in Northeast Atlanta. Tonight, Asia Wilson, Atlanta News First.
Asia, thank you.
And Melissa says, I lived and worked close to this location. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I mean, this is so sad. So this next, I have one more news clip on this story, and they talk to some of those residents who have been affected by these two individuals' poor decisions.
Fire ignited at the reserve at La Vista Walk and burned for hours overnight. Everyone inside at the time got out safely along with most of their pets, but we're told an Atlanta police officer living in the building did lose his cat in the fire along with all of his belongings. Thank you for joining us tonight.
So the cat that lost their life belonged to an Atlanta police officer who lived in the building and also lost all of his belongings.
Roy Cooper. And I'm Carly Barnett. Atlanta News First reporter Asia Wilson is live for us now on La Vista Road. Asia, the fire is still being investigated, but what do we believe right now as far as what investigators are telling you caused this fire?
Well, Tori, Atlanta police telling us they believe the fire may have started due to fireworks being ignited from the roof of this building. Take a look, crews still investigating that tonight, but you can see firefighters still working to put out hot spots. 2 people now facing charges, as so many wondering what's next for this site. From the ground in the sky, total devastation. Now the view at the reserve at La Vista Walk Apartments after a fire erupted there on Friday night. Its residents now without a place to call home.
All the residents have been displaced from this location. What we have done is, through the City of Atlanta Emergency Management Office, has established a rec center to open up as a shelter for those residents.
Many of them standing outside in the rain and cold for hours. More than 80 firefighters worked to put out the flames. Fire officials say 1 cat died and 17 people were treated for smoke inhalation and various minor but non-life-threatening injuries. Atlanta police say their preliminary investigation reveals the fire may have started due to fireworks igniting from the roof of the building. They arrested Robert Stokes and Chanel Gunn, charging them with criminal damage to property in the first degree and reckless conduct. Around 5:45 on Saturday night, Atlanta News First spoke to Battalion Chief Sean Mans off camera.
Okay, why does it sound exactly the same? Am I playing the same?
Adding that the sprinkler system was working at the time, but with the fire being above
oh no, it is the roof, okay. So clearly, I didn't watch these very carefully because they're repeating the same thing that I had in the last clip, but then they do add additional information. So I apologize for that. I should have paid more close attention, but I didn't.
Sprinkler system, quote, didn't do
Natasha,
any good.
hello.
He says now inspectors are working to get in contact with the owner of the building so that person can make arrangements to bring a demolition crew because the building has to be torn down. Now, the investigation continues.
The arson team's going to come in and do their investigation and come up with a final determination.
Now, back out here live, more than 24 hours later, crews are still here. I just spoke to a captain here on scene. He said they plan to be here at least until 7 a.m. this morning. Now, they did open up the Cheshire Bridge Road right here in this area not long ago, but La Vista Road will still remain closed until further notice. We're live tonight in Northeast Atlanta. Asia Wilson, Atlanta News First.
Asia, thank you for that.
Hey, infamous truth teller. More than likely, they're not going to let them get belongings due to damaged infrastructure and unsafe, unstable conditions. That's what I figured, which is even more heartbreaking because these poor people, you know, it's just awful. Oh, Melissa, you worked at the Wells Fargo. Okay. And I do not believe that the 2 that were on top of the building got burned. No. Hey, Petal, how are you, Wise Angel? Welcome.
That live report.
And our cameras were there all night and all morning as people learned what happened.
As Atlanta News First Bridget Spencer found, the fire had a ripple effect on many homes and businesses in that area.
Joseph Bambino has a passion for cooking up a hot breakfast for all who walk through the doors of his restaurant.
Come and enjoy some hot, fresh pancakes.
But his ability to do that was disrupted after a massive fire across the street at the Reserve at La Vista Walk Apartments. It triggered a power outage for his building.
Definitely lost a day's worth of business. There's about $12,000 worth of food in our coolers. We're trying to get them to separate us off the grid or get us some power.
He's just one of the many affected by the disaster. The fire started just before 10:45 on Friday night and burned well into the morning hours. Tenants were evacuated, but the fire displaced dozens of people.
I thought it was not serious, so I just packed a little bit stuff on my laptop or iPad. But after 2 hours, I saw a big fire on the top of the Louvre.
Sal Hamid says at first he wasn't sure if the threat was real.
We treated it like we normally have our weekly occurrence of the alarm. So it was just like any other one. But then when we saw 10 fire trucks pull up, we knew something was wrong.
The fire also shut down a portion of La Vista and Cheshire Bridge roads. Thankfully, Atlanta Fire says nobody lost their life. The Red Cross is stepping in, even opening a shelter at Central Park Rec Center in the meantime.
I will have to definitely look through my options, but I do have a lot of family and friends that are nearby.
In Northeast Atlanta, Bridget Spencer, Atlanta News First.
And we did hear from Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens, who says, quote, "My thoughts remain with the families, and the city will continue to find additional ways to support their road to recovery."
Okay. Yeah, and hey, Turtle. Yeah, K-Braze, I was wondering the same. I wonder how that works. Will those two people be liable for everything financially? I'm curious. I mean, I would assume that they're liable and that, civil suits could be filed against them. Hopefully they did have renter's insurance. I know when I had my apartment in Philadelphia, that was something that we did. Because, you never know when something is going to happen. And so we did have renter's insurance that would cover up to a certain amount of damages. So, okay, K-Bray says there was a building close to me recently that they wouldn't let anyone go in, but they had to fight to let them at least let someone go in and look for the animals, and they didn't want to do that. Yeah, that would really bother me as an animal lover and just, any living creature. Knowing that they might be in there all by themselves and scared and alone. Yeah. So the next story is not from Houston. It is from Austin, Texas. So I knew it was Texas. I just couldn't remember where exactly. So this story is about a hostage situation that resulted in an officer unfortunately losing his life and 3 others also perishing. Or I'm sorry, 2 others perishing. And it was 3, including the officer, during a hostage situation. So this, again, I just saw as I was looking for updates on the fatal car accident in Houston. And I thought this was also important to show. Isn't it Wells Fargo who froze Wendy Williams' bank accounts on the say of her manager? Oh my goodness. So this is a complete tangent from the story, but years ago when I lived in Philadelphia at a job that I had there, I would listen to Wendy Williams every afternoon. I loved her, and she made the time go quick. And even though she was a bit raunchy at times, she definitely made things a lot easier at work.
The Austin Police Department is investigating an officer-involved shooting that occurred at 9308 Bernoulli Drive. At 2:49 a.m., 911 Communications received a call requesting help at that same location where a caller was screaming for help. The caller provided more details and said somebody was stabbing her. At approximately 2:57 a.m., the first officers arrived on scene wearing Austin Police Department uniforms and responding in a patrol capacity to a shooting, stabbing, hotshot call. The officers began to gather additional information, including the suspect's location. Officers were also notified that there were 2 other people injured inside the residence with the suspect. Prior to officers' arrival, a 3rd victim of the suspect was able to escape from the residence and was located by officers in Austin Travis County EMS in the neighborhood. She said the suspect still had a knife, and she was subsequently transported at 3:03 a.m. by Travis County EMS to a local hospital for the injury she had sustained.
Ugh.
Based on that information provided to the officers, at approximately 3 a.m., officers made emergency forced entry into the residence to rescue the 2 victims. Before officers made entry, they announced themselves and identified themselves as Austin police officers. At 3:01 a.m., as the officers entered, they were fired upon by the suspect. The officers then backed out of the residence and did not return fire at that time. At 3:06 a.m., because the suspect was armed and barricaded inside a residence and had 2 hostages, SWAT was called out to the scene. At approximately 4:11 a.m., SWAT officers arrived on scene and forced entry into the residence a second time to rescue the victims. As SWAT officers entered, the suspect immediately fired his gun at the officers, and the SWAT officers returned fire. At approximately 4:15 a.m., during the exchange of gunfire, information was provided over the radio that 2 officers were shot. The 2 officers were transported to a local area hospital by Austin Travis County EMS. The suspect on scene succumbed to his injuries and was pronounced deceased. Despite the tremendous efforts of our officers, our EMS TAC medics, our Austin Fire Department, and the staff at the local hospital, one of our officers succumbed to his injuries. The second officer is in stable condition. 2 apparent victims of the suspect were located inside of the residence with fatal injuries and were pronounced deceased on scene.
So I do want to correct myself again. So the officer was not included in the 3 that were killed. So the suspect himself was shot and killed. There were 2 victims of said suspect who were also deceased, and the officer who was shooting towards the suspect was also shot and succumbed to his injuries.
This officer-involved shooting was captured on body-worn camera. Multiple APD officers discharged their department-approved firearms. The officers will not be identified at this time.
Oh gosh, so that is really sad. And I do have one more video. So again, Austin police officer killed, 3 others dead after South Austin shooting. I know she was trying to be so strong, but I can't fathom the pain and how hard that had to have been for her and all of those who were there.
An Austin police officer was killed in the line of duty early today, shot while responding to a hostage situation. Officer Jorge Pastore had been with the department since 2019 and leaves behind a wife and 2 stepsons. A second officer was also shot and tonight remains in the hospital. 2 other people were also killed inside that home where police were initially called for a report of a stabbing. The suspect was pronounced dead at the scene. Fox 7 Austin's Jessica Rivera has the latest from South Austin.
It's been a devastating morning here in South Austin. Interim Chief Henderson gave us a sad update. 1 officer was killed and another officer is currently in surgery getting treated for his injuries. The Austin Police Department is investigating an officer-involved shooting that happened at 9308 Bernoulli Drive Saturday morning.
911 communications received a call requesting help at that same location where a caller was screaming for help. The caller provided more details and said somebody was stabbing her.
APD officers arrived on scene at 2:57 to a shooting stabbing hotshot call. That's where officers quickly gathered information on the suspect's location.
Officers were also notified that there were 2 other people injured inside the residence with the suspect.
A third victim was able to escape the house before APD arrived. Officers found the victim near the neighborhood. The victim told officers the suspect still had a knife. At 3 a.m., officers made emergency force entry in the house in attempt to rescue the victims.
At 3:01 a.m.
And I agree, Julie, to lose the victims too, it makes it even worse, I would think. Yeah, and the victim who was able to escape and hopefully help officers in knowing what was going on inside that home, you know, and also being injured. Hey, Jen, how are you?
As the officers entered, they were fired upon by the suspect. The officers then backed out of the residence and did not return fire at that time.
Seeing that the suspect held the 2 victims as hostages, SWAT was then called to assist. They arrived on scene at 4:11 a.m. SWAT made a second emergency force entry to the house to rescue the victims. As they entered the house, the suspect immediately shot fire towards SWAT officers, where they then returned fire. During the exchange of gunfire, 2 officers were shot.
Despite the tremendous efforts of our officers, our EMS TAC medics, our Austin Fire Department, and the staff at the local hospital, one of our officers succumbed to his injuries. The second officer is in stable condition.
According to Austin Police Interim Police Chief Robin Henderson, the suspect died from his injuries on scene. The 2 hostages had fatal injuries where they were pronounced deceased on the scene. APD will be conducting 2 concurrent investigations on this incident. The first is a criminal investigation conducted by APD Special Investigations Unit in conjunction with the Travis County District's Attorney's Office. And an administrative investigation will be conducted by the APD Internal Affairs Unit with the Austin Office of Police Oversight. This is an ongoing investigation. Fox 7 will be having team coverage on this. Reporting in South Austin, I'm Jessica Rivera, Fox 7 Austin News.
So again, another story that is heartbreaking, and I'm curious. I will follow up on this story because I'm curious to know what the situation was with so many victims inside who, you know, were a part of this incident, and, you know, the one that was able to get away and get the help that they needed for their injuries. Right, Remy, officer and the hostages, I know. Is it normal to launch an AI investigation right away? That I do not know. I would say probably yes, because it was an officer and an officer was shot, But again, the interim chief did say that it was caught on body camera. So I would think it would be a pretty straightforward investigation to see what truly happened. Oh, me too, Dutch Oma. Whenever I watch the procession and final call, it does. It hits you right in the feels. Absolutely. I agree. So yesterday I had talked about a deadly crash in Houston where 6 individuals lost their lives. And this is an update to that story. There were 6 individuals, including the driver who ran a red light, and a homeless man were killed. There were, I believe, and again, I could be misspeaking, I believe there were 2 people that were involved who did survive, who were brought to local hospitals. So out of 8 people, 6 of those people lost their lives because a driver ran a red light going at an extreme speed. And so this story, just like the others, your discretion is advised. They do show photos of the SUV that some of these victims were in, so it could be triggering for some.
Mother is in mourning tonight. Her daughter, one of the victims killed in an overnight crash in downtown Houston, along with 3 former University of Houston football players. Thank you for joining us. I'm Bill Barajas. A total of 6 people died in that crash, with 2 others still in the hospital. Police say a black Chrysler ran a red light and struck an SUV at high speed. Officers say the crash happened on Fannin Street and Pierce Street at around 2 this morning. KPRC2's Corley Peel spoke with the mother of 32-year-old Lauren Robinson Holiday.
And K-Braze, I did see that story as well. And I don't remember what city it was in, but I did see that there was a person opened fire and the K9 lost its life. Which again, really sad. Really sad.
Whose life was cut short. Corley?
As you can imagine, the family of Lauren Robinson Holiday is heartbroken, and they want to make sure that everyone knows the beautiful legacy that she leaves behind. Giving, kind, and happy are just some of the ways Cynthia Bennett describes her daughter, Lauren Robinson Holiday. She's one of 6 people who died in a crash off Fannin Street early Saturday morning.
I know every life in that car mattered, but I just want y'all to know my baby mattered too.
Robinson Holiday and 4 former U of H football players, 3 of those players died, were in her Acura when the crash happened. State Representative Ron Reynolds is considered family. He says the men were good friends of Lauren's.
Longtime friends, someone that she had knew for many, many years. In fact, that's how I met some of the football players, was from Lauren. And that's how we were able to come together to give back to the community.
Detectives say Robinson Holiday was driving south on Fannin Street through the intersection at Pierce Street with a green light. At the same time, a driver in a black Chrysler 300 heading east on Pierce Street ran the red light at a high rate of speed. The Chrysler struck Holiday's SUV. The Chrysler then hit a homeless man near the sidewalk. Detectives say the driver of the Chrysler was at fault and died at the scene.
I would do anything. I'd give my life for this. I just wish my baby was here.
And HPD says the homeless man who was also hit also died. And the family of Lauren Robinson Holiday says that she was a beloved dietitian and she was a prominent member of her community. And she leaves behind a spouse and a large family who loves her. Reporting live from Missouri City, Corley Peel, KPRC 2 News.
Yeah, Amy, a lot of death in that situation. And I had mentioned this yesterday as well, but it reminded me when I saw this story, it brought me back to the story that I had talked about from Minneapolis, where the young girls died after someone also ran a red light and hit their car, killing all inside. That driver survived. He actually got out of his car and ran, and he was eventually caught. But again, you know, these stories don't have to happen if drivers weren't as reckless as they are. And so this is, again, I wanted to show the video of the mom first because initially yesterday I had seen, the first story I saw was that DJ Hayden was a victim who lost their life in this accident. And as more identities were being released, there was a lot in regards to the University of Houston football players. So like that mom said, you know, all of them mattered, but her daughter also mattered. And I did see in a lot of the news coverage, they were more reporting on the football players and not the others who lost their lives.
Tonight, we are learning more about the victims of a tragic crash in downtown Houston. 3 of them are former University of Houston football stars. DJ Hayden, Zachary McMillian, and Ralph Oragwu were honored by Fox Sports during the network's broadcast of tonight's game between UH and Cincinnati. The crash happened early this morning on Fannin near Pierce, but Maria Aguilera is live in Missouri City, where relatives of a woman who was also killed in the crash are grieving tonight. Maria.
Marcelino, yeah, the former athletes are making headlines for a tragic reason. In the car with them was another woman who died. And tonight we spoke with her mother, who tells us she wants her daughter to be remembered too. These former University of Houston athletes are being remembered. DJ Hayden, who played in the NFL, Zachary McMillian, and Ralph Oragwu. The University Athletics Department sending their condolences to the families and prayers for the recovery of a 4th player, Jeffrey Lewis, saying in part, while their combined talents provided Houston football some of its most unforgettable moments, their unique legacies will best be remembered for the way they loved their teammates, supported their communities, and defied the odds. The 3 were among 6 people killed in a crash in downtown Houston. According to Houston police, a car driving high speed ran a red light, crashing into an SUV with 6 people, including the athletes.
And Amy says they always have a reason to run. If you stay on the scene and you aren't drunk or high, you will have less charges. Right. And I agree with that statement too. Wise Angel says, my friend lost her life due to a drunk and drug driver. Her niece lost her left leg at 8 years old, and now as an adult herself could lose the right leg too. That's so sad. I was just finishing a late night at my teaching job. We had a student recruitment night. I drove right onto the scene. Oh my gosh. I can't imagine. There was another story that I thought about covering, but I decided not to, and that was it was about a police officer. I can't remember where, but there was a very violent car wreck, and this police officer responded, and unfortunately it was his 16 or 17-year-old daughter who was involved and who had sadly lost her life. And I can't imagine what that would be like. I would think traumatic, horrifying, unbearable. And I did save it, so I may talk about it eventually, but it's a really tough one. All of these are tough, but that was even more tough for me.
The driver of that at-fault vehicle died at the scene, and a man believed to be homeless was struck and killed. Lauren Robinson Holiday was in the car with the athletes. She also died. While the football players are remembered and honored in a moment of silence at Saturday night's UH game, Cynthia Bennett doesn't want her daughter Lauren to be forgotten.
I know every life in that car mattered, but I just want y'all to know my baby mattered too.
State Representative Ron Reynolds says they're family to him, speaking for them as they all mourn.
Lauren was like a niece to me. I've known her since she was in high school, and she is a beautiful, intelligent, God-fearing young lady whose life was taken too soon. She was a remarkable product of this community.
Lauren's mother asking for prayers for her daughter's spouse and all the family she left behind.
You know, Lauren was there too, and Lauren mattered. I would do anything. I'd give my life for this. I just wish my baby was here.
Lauren and the athletes are from the Fort Bend County area, where the community is grieving this sudden loss. Again, there were 6 people in the SUV with Lauren and the 3 former athletes. Now, according to Houston police, 2 others were taken to a hospital. Their conditions are unknown at this time. Live in Missouri City, Maria Aguilera, KHOU 11 News. Back to you.
Our heart just breaks for all the victims and their families. Maria Aguilera, thank you for your reporting.
And K-Bray says, the local hospital called my cell phone one night and said they couldn't tell me anything. I got up there and it was my sister who tried to take her life. I'm still stunned. I think it's messed up that the hospital wouldn't at least tell me something, but they wanted me to go up there to pull the plug. K-Brays. I am so sorry. Wise Angel says the perp has just got out of jail, did 10 of his life sentence. We tried to keep him there. He's not allowed to enter the city though. Wow, so he only did 10 years of a life sentence? I know, Cammie. I was thinking that the same thing. How about the homeless man had a name and he very much mattered too. And I'm wondering whether or not they're trying to identify him, you know, based on what he may or may not have had on his person. But yeah, I mean, this guy, you know, was literally in the wrong place at the wrong time. So I have one more video, and again, some of this may be repetitive, but they all had different things in them that I thought were important to hear.
We're learning more about the people who died in a tragic car crash in downtown Houston. We were there yesterday morning following this investigation. Police say 6 people died. 3 of them are former U of H football players. Our TJ Parker joining us live outside of TDECU Stadium this morning. TJ, this was just such a tragedy. We know so many families are grieving this morning.
Right. As you can imagine, this is extremely tough for those families involved. Even the University of Houston sending out a statement saying that the community is heartbroken.
I know every life in that car mattered, but I just want y'all to know my baby mattered too.
The mother of Lauren Robinson Holiday, Cynthia Bennett, mourning her loss after the young woman was killed in a car crash Saturday morning.
I would do anything. I'd give my life for this. I just wish my baby was here.
Lauren was one of 6 killed, including 3 former UH football players, DJ Hayden, Zach McMillan, and Ralph Aragwu. They were all in the same SUV when police say someone ran the red light at Fannin and Pierce downtown.
And just looking at that SUV, now that we're seeing it a few times, that Chrysler had to be going really fast. I mean, the entire side of that SUV was, I mean, it was like it was crushed. I mean, how fast would you have to go to cause that type of damage?
Town Saturday morning, crashing into them.
Hey, Phoenix.
Family friend, State Rep Ron Reynolds says Lauren leaves a lasting legacy.
Longtime friends, someone that she had knew for many, many years. In fact, that's how I met some of the football players, was from Lauren. And that's how we were able to come together to do to give back to the community.
Also injured in the crash was former player Jeffrey Lewis. UH sent a statement out reading in part, "We extend our deepest condolences to their families, friends, and loved ones as we collectively mourn the loss of 3 individuals who made an indelible impact on each life they touched." Yeah, just so tragic. Lauren leaves behind a spouse and a large family. Police say as for the at-fault driver, he was also killed in that crash, as well as another person. We're live at the University of Houston this morning. I'm TJ Parker, KPRC 2 News.
Thank you so much, TJ.
So again, another story of something that could have been prevented. And again, a very, very sad situation. And I think of the 2 survivors who lost their friends. There's not really any words at all. Yeah, it is very rare that a homeless person makes the news. Society does not care because they wish they didn't exist. We had 2 different homeless murdered, and it never made the paper nor news. Wow, Cammie. And there was, gosh, what was the, I think it was in California. There was I believe he was 18 or 19, and they thought it was a serial killer because he was stabbing homeless individuals, and they did finally catch him. I think it was California. Hey, rapper. And again, that made news only because they thought that there was a serial killer on the loose, because so many so many had lost their lives. And there was a case in Miami of a serial killer of homeless. He was a realtor. Okay, I don't think that's the one, but that one would be interesting to look at because, again, that's really scary too. Right, but the one I'm thinking of, he was a college student. So I don't think he could be a realtor. Let me... And I should know because I did UC Davis. So it was California. I did a story on it. It was back in May. So that's probably why I don't remember. But he was a college senior. No, that's who was killed. A college senior was killed. A beloved homeless man. And let me see. This was before they caught him. But yes, it was UC Davis. Okay, so it was a 17-year-old. I thought he was 18 or 19. He was 17, and he was arrested. So yes, UC Davis. And I'm going to have to rewatch my video because now I'm curious to know where that case is. Hey, Spitfire. So the last story I have is what the thumbnail is about. And so the I-10 freeway is closed until further notice. So I believe I have 5 videos. Let me just look quick. Yes, 5 short videos on this. And one is from the Los Angeles Fire Department. So I did not realize that LAFD had a YouTube page, but they do. And I did link their page in the description. I will also drop that link in chat right now. Hey, Truth Seeker, how are you? So definitely take a look. It was interesting. This is where I got this very short clip, but it gives a summary of what happened yesterday in LA.
The Los Angeles City Fire Department responded to various storage yards underneath the I-10 freeway near Alameda Boulevard. These storage yards were being used to store materials such as pallets, vehicles, and storage containers. Fire was very intense
and so here actually is a view that I hadn't seen on the other news coverage, but definitely a lot of stuff in that area.
Firefighters mounted a defensive attack to protect neighboring industrial buildings. The firefight continued for hours, causing damage to the infrastructure of the freeway. Caltrans sent out engineers to evaluate the structural integrity of the concrete. The cause of the fire is under active investigation. The length of the freeway closure is unknown at this time. There were no reported injuries to firefighters or civilians.
So again, just a really short video from LAFD that gave a little synopsis. There's a stringer called AXN News that has some great coverage of the fire. And I believe, I didn't want to use the coverage. I believe it was on scene. Let me look quickly. That it was about a 30-minute video of the on-scene TV. And actually, I will drop their link into the chat because they have some incredible footage of the scene, but I didn't want to use their, because I don't know how that actually, goes with copyright. I get nervous with that type of thing. So here is on-scene TV. Oh, those were homeless tents. Okay, I thought maybe, but it looked like they were, it was more like storage. But thank you. Hey, Mad Max Malone. Great name. Hello, Brittany C. Thank you again for letting me know that. Oh, LAFD is awesome on social media. Hey, Sofa King. Thanks for joining. AXN. So let me actually, so AXN, oh, here, AXN News. And I'll drop their link as well. Yeah, it looks like they do a lot of, oh, and they were there. AXN News was there for 5 hours. Wow. So I will also drop their link because that's actually really cool that they do that live coverage like that. I was watching when he rolled up on the fire until he left. Wow. Oh, okay, Brittany. AXN is good with you using just his just give him credit and share link. He's always cool with that. Thank you for letting me know. Yeah, so, and I actually closed the window, but I'll remember that for next time because that is, I always like to reach out to the creator first and, get their blessing, but I will definitely keep him in mind.
We want to get back to that breaking news. A massive storage fire forces the full closure of the 10 freeway in downtown LA.
The blaze was so intense, structural damage is now a concern. Let's go back to KTLA's Aaron Myers live in downtown LA with the very latest. Aaron.
Good morning to you both. We know firefighters have been out here since very early this morning. Just before 12:30 is when that call came in. And at the height of this fire, there are about 160 plus firefighters here. And you can see several crews still out here. They are dealing with hot spots and flare-ups, and they do expect to be out here for hours. I want to bring in David Ortiz with the Los Angeles City Fire Department to fill us in on everything that's happened. Now, talk to me about what firefighters were dealing with when they got here.
Well, when they arrived here, they had fire on both sides of 14th Street, which goes underneath the I-10 freeway. The radiant heat that was coming off of this fire because of the amount of contents of materials that are stored underneath.
Like, that is just, this reminds me a little bit of the I-95 overpass that had collapsed due to that semi explosion. Obviously this, I feel like this was much more extreme, but it reminds me of that situation. And for those of you just coming in, if you haven't voted in the poll, please do so. If you haven't liked or disliked or subscribed, set your notifications to live, please do so, because you'll never know when I go live next, because there's a lot of stories I care about that I want to, let others about. So definitely put that notification bell on. Yes, the fuel truck fire. Yes, Mad Max Malone. I actually covered that when it happened. And that was, just so sad. And so as soon as I saw some of the footage from this fire, that's what I immediately thought of, was the I-95 overpass.
These freeway overpasses was quite a bit, and the heat was menacing these buildings you see across the street here on the north side. So firefighters took a defensive posture, but the flames were very intense to the point where you see some of the steel on the guards.
And that actually, let me just back up a tiny bit. This actually looks like the back of a semi-trailer, or maybe it's just a trailer, but it just looks like all that's left is this part of it. And you just see fire on the other side.
On the guardrails that are melted. Firefighters mounted a very heroic defense against this fire. They saved these 3 buildings that they were looking to protect. But the flame lengths were to the point where you can see steel is melted, concrete is falling, and the Caltrans engineers are out here waiting for us to put the fire out so they can go underneath the bridge overpasses and check it for structural integrity. Right now, we don't know whether these roads are going to be able to be opened anytime soon, but we expect to be here all morning.
Now, I know there was an encampment under the underpass. Everyone was able to get out, though, correct?
Yes, as far as we know, everybody got out without being injured. No injuries to firefighters, no injuries to civilians thus far. We continue to take a defensive posture. We're using a firefighting robot to go in there and squirt water. We have an excavator, and we're trying to keep everybody.
So a firefighting robot? I have not heard of that before. So I'm gonna have to now look into that, because I know they have like the robots for police departments that would kind of go in, and it has the camera and it would kind of see what's going on, but I did not know that there are firefighting robots that squirt water. When I saw the thumbnail, I thought it was an update from that. Oh, my thumbnail from today? Yes, Amy, it actually did reopen. Maybe, I feel like it was only like a week later. They got it open really quick. They did a temporary overpass just to get traffic moving again. Actually, let me write myself a note. I'm gonna look up an update on that too. My pen just died. Give me one moment. Because I'm curious. I haven't really checked in. I would assume they have the permanent overpass there, but I haven't really paid attention. Oh, runs with scissors. You have a lot of bots in LE and EMS. Interesting.
Out from being underneath these overpasses until they're deemed safe.
Firefighters are all okay as well.
Everybody is okay.
Well, I also want to bring in Roberto Gomez with the CHP to talk to us a little bit now about the closures. Part of the 10 closed and surrounding areas is too. Fill us in on that.
Correct. Just give you kind of a broader spectrum as to what's being closed down when you're talking about on the west side of this incident, which is on the downtown LA part. If you're coming out of downtown, 10 East at Alameda, everything's being diverted. But if you're coming into downtown, the East LA interchange is completely being, in a sense, not shut down, but diverted. So if you're coming on the 5 North to the 10 West, that's shut down. If you're coming on the 5 South to the 10 West, that's shut down. The 60 West into the 10 West is also shut down. So in a sense, the whole East LA interchange to Alameda is, in a sense, completely shut down.
The best thing right now, pretty much just to avoid the area, at least for the next 24 hours, we're hearing?
Correct. We're getting preliminary of 24 hours. So all alternates that you might want to take and expect delays. So please be patient, and please, it's going to be delayed for sure.
Thank you so much for filling us in. And once again, firefighters do expect to be out here at least all morning, maybe into the afternoon. CHP now telling us the roadways are going to be closed for at least the next 24 hours. Reporting live here in downtown, I'm Erin Myers. I'll send it back to you in the studio.
Yeah, important information, because that would take us into the commute tomorrow. Yeah. You know, it's a long time, Erin. Thanks.
So speaking of I-95, as we were listening to that news coverage, I did look up the I-95 collapse, and we're gonna take a detour for a moment. And so this was from November 7th, so 5 days ago. Reconstruction of collapsed portion of I-95 in Philadelphia hits major milestone. PennDOT opened permanent northbound lanes on I-95 at Cottman Avenue Tuesday, marking a major milestone after the interstate collapsed during a fatal tanker truck fire nearly 5 months ago. Traffic was shifted onto the new outer lane bridge on the northbound side Tuesday around 2 a.m. before the start of rush hour on one of the busiest stretches of interstate in the country. PennDOT initially reduced the northbound side to 1 lane at Cottman Avenue interchange before it was fully opened. Road crews worked to paint new lines on the highway and moved barricades, allowing for the outer lanes to be opened up. All of this comes after a tanker truck crashed on Cottman Avenue, claiming the life of a truck driver on June 11th. So it says the fire led to the collapse of the I-95 overpass. Detours and construction brought traffic to a standstill in the heavily traveled area. PennDOT rebuilt and opened 6 temporary lanes within 12 days. Now, nearly 5 months later, PennDOT has shifted traffic from the temporary roadway onto the new outer lanes of the northbound bridge. The southbound side will be next. Expect slow traffic while heading south Wednesday after 9 p.m. and lasting into Thursday around 5 a.m. when the southbound outer lanes are expected to open. So again, this was this past Wednesday and Thursday. So those should be open at this point. What will happen next is we will deconstruct the temporary roadway beginning in the next number of days after the traffic is, of course, shifted. That will unfold without too much dependency on weather. We will then, of course, construct the third bridge that will carry I-95 over Cottman. We expect to have that done in a matter of months. Hey, Kit, how are you? So there is an update on the I-95 collapse. So it is definitely moving forward, and I'm glad that Amy asked that question because I actually looked it up and we were able to find an update. All right, so so again, for those of you who may just be coming in, this is the 10 freeway shutdown in LA due to a massive fire.
We want to get back to that breaking news.
Oh, shoot. I believe I already played that one. Okay, moving on.
Begin with that breaking news we've been following all morning long. The 10 freeway in downtown LA closed indefinitely due to a massive fire at a storage yard under the roadway.
Yeah, flare-ups are preventing engineers from checking the freeway's structural integrity. That's where we find KTLA's Aaron Myers live in downtown LA with what we know so far. And it looks like you got to move a bit closer, Aaron.
Good morning to you both. Yeah, we're not that far away from where this all happened, but firefighters are still here. They are working on those flare-ups, those hot spots. So this fire has not been officially knocked down, even though firefighters have been out here since about 12:30 this morning. It's been a tough fight for them. And you can see they're on the off-ramp, firefighters with the hoses. This fire is so intense, it actually melted some of the guardrail of that off-ramp. We do want to show you some video as well. This is a live look of the backup on the closure on the freeway right now. This is the 10.
And again, all of the videos thus far are from yesterday. I do have, the last video I have for us is from today.
Freeway. Currently, the 10 is closed in both directions from around Alameda to Santa Fe, along with the West 60 to the 10 north, 5 to the West 10, the South 5 to the West 10 as well. Several on-ramps on the 10 are also closed, so best just to avoid this area for now. Now, as for the fire, we know this started a little before 12:30 this morning. That's when the Los Angeles City firefighters responded to this storage yard on East 14th Street, not far from Alameda. The fire also extended to a second storage yard, exposing additional structures. So extra resources were called in. Fortunately, firefighters were able to protect the commercial buildings nearby, but we are told trailers, vehicles, pallets, and more were destroyed on the yards, along with what appeared to be at least a couple vehicles on 14th Street. In total, 26 fire companies were called in to battle this blaze with more than 160 firefighters on the ground. Extra equipment was also brought in to help keep firefighters safe.
We brought some excavators. We brought a robot firefighter, and that's what we're using to get in underneath this overpass. Due to the unknown structural integrity of these columns, we don't want to put firefighters in harm's way.
Now, and take a look at this picture and video from Caltrans showing some of the damage to the 10 freeway. Caltrans does have a structural engineer who will check the structural integrity of the freeway after the fire is completely put out.
We don't know if there are hazardous materials in there, so once fire gets out, our hazardous teams will have to go in and ensure that it's safe for the structural engineers to go in and check. They'll do hammer tests, they'll do visual tests, they'll get a sense of the strength and the structural integrity of that bridge, whether it's just replacing concrete or whether we have to actually go in and replace rebar.
And you can see a fire engine there behind us. It was damaged as well during this fire. We are told there was an encampment underneath there as well, underneath the freeway. Fortunately, everybody was able to get out, we're told, and that no injuries were reported. But once again, the best thing to do right now, just stay away from this area, because once again, they don't know how long the 10 freeway in this area is going to be closed off just yet. Reporting live here in downtown, I'm Aaron Myers. I'll send it back to you in the studio.
And so for those of you who may live in this area, or at least know this area, with that portion of the 10 freeway being shut down, are there easy ways to get around it? Like, I know when Philadelphia had the interstate shut down, it was putting, hours on people's commute time. And I'm thinking that LA, it would probably be similar, if not worse, with travel time. Yeah, Brittany, I hadn't seen the photo of the engine either until this story. Hey, Leather, how are you? All right, where is my, there it is. All right, so we have 2 more videos. And again, this one is where Governor Newsom declares state of emergency. Okay, yes and no. It could be that way here too. Okay.
Governor Newsom declaring a state of emergency after one of the busiest stretches of the 10 freeway shut down indefinitely because of a major fire there.
Let's take a look. This was the scene overnight beneath the 10 freeway along the East 14th Street near the Fashion District. More than 100 firefighters were brought in to fight this fire that began in 2 storage yards filled with pallets. Eastbound traffic is shut down at Alameda. Westbound is shut down at Santa Fe. And we take a live look at the traffic that is now backed up for miles. CHP asking drivers to avoid this area as they have to get off, take side streets to avoid the detour and get back on. Eyewitness News reporter Amy Powell has the latest from downtown tonight as LA's mayor has now contacted Washington, D.C.
Terrifying moments for drivers traveling on the 10 freeway in downtown Los Angeles. Towering flames and thick smoke filling the skies over the area. A massive fire breaking out minutes after midnight in a sprawling storage yard on 14th Street underneath the freeway. The blaze spreading to a second yard. Flames raging, engulfing trailers.
Like, just, that is like incredible, the power of fire. So Sofa King Tight says, Stargazer Mom, totally know that. What did Stargazer Mom say? Oh, yes. So that was about the traffic. Growing up in OC, I too avoided LA except for plays, concerts. I've expanded my horizons now, but still avoid downtown. Oh my goodness, Brandon. Reminds me of a scrapyard fire we had over the summer. It took 5 or 6 days to burn out.
Vehicles, pallets, auto parts, and other materials. Unhoused people living in the area seen grabbing belongings and running for their lives. More than 100 firefighters arrived to battle the blaze, intense heat creating extreme danger.
Melting a lot of the metal and infrastructure around it, specifically the concrete that's underneath this freeway. It was chipping away. And firefighters had quite a fight on their hands.
A fight that went on for several hours before they were able to subdue the flames. A fire department truck sustaining damage.
Wow, and so that actually gives a little bit of a better perspective of the fire truck. Here, it looks like it's melted, parts of it at least.
Authorities taking precautions, fearing that concrete could collapse on firefighters. Throughout the day, pockets of fire continued to smolder.
What we needed to do was to bring in an excavator to basically dismantle and shred these vehicles that basically had melted together, these parts that had melted together because of the intense heat.
All eastbound and westbound lanes of the 10 freeway will remain closed between Alameda Street and Santa Fe Avenue until Caltrans can determine the extent of the damage.
We're seeing a lot of spalled concrete that's flaked off of the columns. The underside of the bridge deck may be compromised. We don't know that until we can get in there.
Caltrans is bringing in a hazardous materials contractor to remove some of the debris so structural engineers can assess the damage to the freeway, but that may not happen until Sunday afternoon. So again, the freeway remains closed indefinitely. Amy Powell, ABC 7 Eyewitness.
So again, today, so that brings us to Sunday. So the last clip I have for us is an update from this morning. So again, this was 7:01 a.m. Pacific time. So it would be 10 o'clock Eastern. So that's about when I started preparing for this live.
Top story this morning, a state of emergency declared following that massive fire that raged beneath the 10 freeway yesterday morning.
Several agencies now working together to assess the damage. KTLA's Aaron Myers live in downtown LA with more on the cleanup and what it is going to take to repair this. Aaron, good morning.
Good morning to you both. As of now, parts of the 10 freeway, they still are closed down from Alameda to the East LA interchange. Caltrans has to come back out today. They still need to assess the damage, assess that structural integrity of the freeway. Now you can see here behind me, that is the aftermath. We do see LAFD firefighters out here. Caltrans is out here as well, but they are still waiting to get started this morning. Now we are told the damage spans 2 blocks after a fire tore through the area under the 10 freeway. Now, last night, the mayor toured the area and released a statement saying that she has directed city departments to immediately plan for how to address.
Wow, so that gives you a little bit of a view I hadn't seen before of underneath where the fire was. And what a place for a fire to start or to be, because that overpass just blocks the heat. Like, it's just seemingly stuck there except for where it can come out the sides.
Increased traffic in the area. She also says the White House stands at the ready to assist with whatever is needed. As for the state of emergency, Governor Gavin Newsom said the state will assess damage, remove hazardous waste, and begin repairs as soon as the site can be accessed. Fire started early yesterday morning in an industrial area near 14th Street in Alameda. So intense it melted fences and guardrails along the 10 freeway and caused chunks of concrete on the freeway's columns to break away. 2 fire trucks were damaged and cars, pallets, shipping containers, and more in the storage yards burned. It took more than 160 firefighters hours to douse the flames. Crews were monitoring hotspots into yesterday evening. There was a homeless encampment underneath the freeway that sent people running for safety when the fire broke out. Fortunately, no one was hurt, and the city is helping those that lost their belongings and who need shelter. As for the cause of the fire, that is still under investigation.
There's several people are involved in this investigation to try to piece together what actually happened, and that's going to take days to put together. We have investigators here that are canvassing the area, interviewing different people, looking for video of people that were here, and basically they're putting that together.
Caltrans tells me that hazmat samples were collected last night to send to the lab. Once results are back and hazmat teams have cleared the area, then Caltrans can assess the damage and determine the structural integrity of the freeway, saying they want to get things open as safely and as soon as possible.
So we'd really like to get at least a lane open, if not 2 or 3, by Monday commute.
Now, once again, it is best just to avoid this area. If you do have to travel nearby, they say to take alternate routes like the 60, the 5, or the 110. We are hearing there will be a news conference sometime today or more information is expected to be released. Reporting live here in downtown, I'm Erin Myers. I'll send it back to you both in Hollywood.
All right. So again, as you heard there, they are supposed to be having a press conference today at some point. I am hopeful that they didn't while I was live. I didn't see anything when I was looking. And before I forget, I'm going to talk a little bit, but if you haven't voted in the poll, please do so quickly because I am going to end it before I forget. So I'm going to keep it actually right in view so that I don't forget. Let's see. I saw a comment. So Spudler, I agree with you. I feel so sorry for the homeless. And, you know, it showed those 2 people trying to save their belongings and the fire was like right there. And they ended up just running because, I mean, I can't imagine what the heat was like. But to, you know, see your possessions destroyed, that's actually one of my biggest fears is fire. Oh, Stargazer Mom, thank you. In LA, they are out of space, so they have been building storage places under overpasses and freeways. They are a disaster waiting to happen, and here it is. Hey, True Texan, how are you? Long time no see. Yep, Wise Angel, same. If they ask for money, I won't give them money, but I will give them food, water, warm drink. Yep. Oh, there was a dog they rescued from the pallet yard. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to try and find that story. All right, so I am going to end the poll because I don't want to forget. So again, the overall 94% said yes, that you enjoy the stories I choose to discuss. 5% said no, which means that was about 9 to 10 people said no. So if you are one of those 9 to 10 people, feel free to email me at headstonesandheadlines@gmail.com and let me know why and what stories you'd like me to talk about. Because like I've said in the past, I pick the stories that kind of touch me, affect me. So just like with today's live, the beginning story was about another fire, which I just realized that was caused by 2 individuals shooting off fireworks on the roof of their apartment building. And again, car accidents, I tend to talk about them a lot because, it can happen to any of us. And most of them are caused by reckless drivers who have no concern for anyone, including themselves. So, oh, good. Thank you, Brittany. There's footage on AXN. Okay, I'm going to have to check that out. Yeah. Hey, Shelly babes. When the stories are current and local, also factual reports are important. I try to keep things factual to a T. I do give my opinion sometimes, but I try not to speculate or make judgments. Sometimes I do, and in my mind they are justified. Local to me may not be local to you. I live in New York, but I tend to pick stories from all over. And like I said, it's whatever touches me or hurts my heart, or things that touch me. So yeah. Yes, Kathy, I will actually see you very soon. So thanks for hanging out with me. I am gonna wrap this up because I have to use the bathroom. I've been drinking way too much water today, and I'm also getting a little hungry. Chili peanuts. There was a fire in a mill in my area, totally demolished. They found 3 bodies months later. Oh my gosh. That is so sad. Did they know that there could be people in there? Like, did they know that there were people missing, or is it just they just found them as they were cleaning up, or the aftermath? All right, Joe. Well, I appreciate you again being here on this Sunday. I hope that you have a great rest of your day. I will be floating around these YouTube streets because I need to get laundry done, and I need to get my laundry room cleaned up because every time I walk in there, I want to just walk right back out. So I will be hopefully getting that done. So if I don't see you on these YouTube streets or see you later on today, because like I said, you never know when Emmy will be live again. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And until next time, I will see you all on the flip side.